Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott and I'm the Emperor of Stomaria. Today I'm very pleased to announce that the Republic of Vesta, now a member state of the Empire, has acquired its first territory. So for those that don't know, the Republic of Vesta is governed by Consul David, and the Republic of Vesta actually joined the Empire of Stomaria towards the end of 2022 as an observer state. And they joined as an observer state because they didn't have a territory, in the sense they didn't have private freehold land, which is what we in the Empire of Stomaria consider to be essential for full membership of the Empire. Now, we expect in time every observer state that becomes a part of the Empire of Stomaria to work towards this goal, to try to attain full membership status. And this doesn't really mean anything in the sense that the observer states are still able to play an active role in the development and the expansion of the empire. They're able to become part of the trade network, engage in the community, attend imperial court meetings and all the rest of it. But it was necessary for us to make the distinction clear that there are some entities, some communities, some nations that don't quite meet all of the criteria, but there are those who nevertheless meet some of the criteria, and rather than exclude them entirely from the community, we want to make it possible for them to play a part in Stomaria while they actually develop, while they expand, and while they continue to try to meet all of the necessary criteria and agree to the terms and conditions that we've laid out for full membership of the Empire. And this is why the Empire of Stomaria is structured the way it is, because we are a community of communities, we're a nation of nations. We are an empire which is building ties between all of these different communities, all these different peoples, in order to establish these trade networks, in order to help each other grow, in order to expand and develop, both as nations in our own right, but also as a collective whole. And this is very important to us. Now, obviously, with the acquisition of private freehold land, the Republic of Vesta has become a full member state. So they are no longer recognized as an observer state. They have ticked that oh so significant box, and they have acquired private freehold land. But not just this, they have acquired far more land in such a short space of time than we could have ever really expected. And the big part of this, it's not the only reason, but a big part of this is obviously land in the United States, where the Republic of Vesta is actually based. Depending on where you are in the States, the land is exceptionally cheap. In fact, when he told me how cheap the land was, I was shocked, frankly. And just as an aside, we are going to be actually starting to make small inquiries as to whether or not we would be able to acquire some land either adjacent to or nearby the Republic of Vesta, which we ourselves might not be able to utilise, but it would nevertheless be a territory of Stomaria which could be utilised by the Republic of Vesta or another neighbouring community in some form or another, because frankly the price of the land there would justify us taking that risk. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much they actually spent on the territory that they acquired, but it equates to 0.16 square kilometers, which for those who can't quite get their head around that kind of sum, that figure, that size, it's about 40 acres. Now, to go from nothing to 40 acres is quite extraordinary and has blown out of the water our own land holdings, that of Stomaria itself, and of course the Kingdom of Wayward, which both have very small holdings of private freehold land that we are utilising, southward and Wayward South, as people well know. We've advertised this quite heavily, especially in the last few months as we prepare it for the Imperial Summit in June. But this 40-acre plot is something else. It's pretty incredible, and I was incredibly shocked when this news was first revealed to me, because he, that is to say Consul David, didn't actually tell me about this at all until we had a recent Imperial Court meeting where I had representatives from the Republic of Vesta and Wayward, as well as myself for Stomaria. And we have one of our sort of semi-regular meetings just to update each other on what's been going on. Didn't really anticipate anything from the Republic of Vesta. They have been doing some behind-the-scenes work, and I look forward to hopefully sharing some photos of Consul David, and they're hoping to get a Patreon campaign set up and all the rest of it to get some more citizens involved. And I know that's been on the back burner for a little while because he started a new job and all the rest of it, so I wasn't too worried. I wasn't really expecting, anything major on the development front on that side. So when I sort of just casually asked if there anything from Republic of Vesta that they want to sort of report, they consulted, well, actually, yeah, we've just purchased 40 acres of land. I was surprised and really elated, because this is fantastic news, because he has been working exceptionally hard towards this goal. And this is something I think a lot of people, a lot of entities, a lot of communities, a lot of nations, they really do lack that drive. What they, type out online saying, these are my plans and this is what I hope to do and these are the plans for the next 5 or 10 years or whatever else. And then of course they just sort of dissolve or go inactive 2 weeks later, or you never hear from them again. They're a dime a dozen, they come and go incredibly frequently. Whereas the Republic of Vesta, they never made a song and dance about it, in the sense that they said, yeah, that's what we're going to be working towards, and hopefully we'll do that in the next year or two. But, they weren't promising to build the next, the New Jerusalem or something like that. I know a lot of sort of nations and aspirant communities and all the rest of it, they try to insinuate that they're the next best thing. They're going to be this whole new city, this whole new nation, this whole new empire that's going to be built in the next few years, in the next 5-10 years, and it's going to have skyscrapers, and it's going to be one of the most advanced civilizations in the world. Republic of Vesta was not like that. They simply said that we want to live a more self-reliant lifestyle. We support what Stomaria is doing more broadly, what the Empire is doing more broadly. We want to get involved in that, and at our own pace, we're going to try to take steps to accomplish that. And we were expecting in the next year or two for them to acquire some land at some point. But to come out with this, as you can tell, I'm very excited about this on their behalf, because it is a fantastic milestone to be able to say that they have acquired this kind of land, this size of land as well. And I just wanted to reiterate that this is a major win for the Republic of Vesta, I suppose even to a lesser extent, and I will say to a lesser extent, the Empire of Stomaria, because I'm not going to take credit for the hard work that Consul David has put into the acquisition of this land. The Republic of Vesta is obviously a member state of the Empire of Stomaria. Consul David is a Stomarian citizen, as is all the heads of governments and the heads of the nations that form a part of the Empire of Stomaria. They're all Stomarian citizens. But I do not for a second take any credit for the acquisition of this land. That was all Consul David, that was all the Republic of Vesta, and I'm exceptionally proud that David has been able to accomplish this, and he still sees value in remaining a part of the Empire. And I think that speaks volumes to the character of David himself, because he is someone that I have had a lot of time for in the past. Even before he became an observer state of the Empire, I thought he was a very rational, very sensible, and very loyal individual who knew what he wanted to do. But his personal loyalty to the Empire of Stomaria at large, having gone through a small schism where are we now, 5 or 6 months ago, he was steadfastly behind the Empire of Stomaria. His loyalty to the Empire of Stomaria has never been in question, is not in doubt, and that combination of being loyal to the Empire of Stomaria but also being proactive in building a nation in its own right, having the Republic of Vesta being developed and built in its own right. These are two really major qualities that I look for when people get involved in the Empire of Stomaria, when people who are heading nations and communities want to get involved in Stomaria. I first want to know that they're going to be committed and loyal to the Empire as a whole, but I also want to see them pull in their own weight. I want to see them developing their own nations, their own communities, because as much as we can support each other, and I will always look to support the member states of the Empire and the observed states of the Empire, I can only do so much. It really is down to the individual, down to the community, down to the nation itself to kick up its feet and really push for what it's trying to do. And the Republic of Vesta, much like the Kingdom of Wayward, I have no issues with that because they're out there, they're doing it. And this particular plot of land that they've acquired, I have spoken to David about this. It's not got a name yet, so I don't know if it's simply going to be called Vesta or the Republic of Vesta, or if it's going to be just one of many territories that the Republic of Vesta acquires, so maybe it'll have its own unique name. We're still working on that, or rather David is still working on that, and he'll let me know as and when. The land itself, for those that are curious, is actually in Wyoming, which is interesting because David actually resides in Alabama, I believe. I'm almost doubting myself now that I say that, but I'm sure he resides in Alabama, for the time being at least. His plan is to actually move to Wyoming next year, and then he's going to be living and working in Wyoming close to this land that he's purchased. And while he's working, he's going to establish his own dwellings there. He's going to be utilising the land to live a more self-reliant lifestyle and expand and develop from there. And what I like about this is that it's realistic and it's possible and it's practicable, because it is a lot easier, I think, in the States to do these sorts of things. In the United Kingdom, in Great Britain, as anyone that's ever tried to purchase land or develop that land or utilise that land some way will know, there is endless red tape. For better or worse, it is quite hard to not just change the use of the land, but also to use the land in any real capacity if it's not already established as a dwelling or something to that effect. So it is very liberating, I think, to see the Republic of Vesta purchase all of this land with the opportunity to actually develop this land in such a way that is probably leaps and bounds above anything that we can do in the immediate term. Now, obviously, our end goal is to purchase land to either build our own dwellings or to purchase dwellings outright and have Sumerian citizens reside in these. But for the immediate future, all we can really do, based on the budget that we have, is to acquire woodland or agricultural land to try and develop a Sumerian economy and an economy for the wider empire. And I think the Kingdom of Wayward is more or less moving in that same direction, in the sense that I know there were talks of simply buying land, not to settle, not to move on to necessarily, but to actually utilise in order to generate revenue to buy land that they can move to. That might not happen, in the sense that it might just go straight for the kill and might just buy land where they know they can settle. But again, the same kind of principle, I suppose. It is difficult to acquire land that you can move on to straight away in the United Kingdom without paying huge premiums for it. So it really is something that a lot of people, ourselves included, have to work up to. And again, this news where we can boast of having the Empire of Stomaria's holdings now included this 0.16 square kilometre plot is quite something. And I did and ah about whether or not, when the Empire of Stomaria was first founded, whether or not we would count the territory of individual Stomarian citizens towards the Empire's total. And because I wasn't sure that would be the best way forward, but instead we do it this way, in where nations and communities can contribute land to the total territorial empire, but individual citizens cannot. I think that's something that I still want to stick with, certainly for the foreseeable future. But if we didn't do that, I can tell you that between the Republic of Vesta, many of the Sumerian citizens, and indeed many of the citizens of the wider empire, imperial citizens, if you like, the citizens of Wayward or Vesta, for instance, we wouldn't be measuring the land mass, the territory of the empire as a whole in square meters, it would be square kilometers through and through. I don't doubt that for a minute. Based purely on what I know that Sumerian citizens have in particular, in terms of their territory, in terms of the land they actually own. But that all by the by. I'm going on a bit of a tangent at the moment because I'm just so excited about this prospect of having a true multinational empire, which is something that we've not really been able to pin down at all. We've really established ourselves now as an empire that now has territory, not just in the sense that we have Sumerian provinces, not in the sense we have member states in the British Isles, but also member states in the United States of America. And that is just the first step towards establishing a genuine worldwide empire, because we are obviously not limited as to who can get involved in terms of their geography. Everyone in the world can become a Sumerian citizen. Everyone in the world that has a nation or a community, or leads a nation or a community, and they want to become a part of the Empire of Stomaria in the same way that Wayward or Vesta has, then these are just the beginnings of something greater. And again, I'm just waffling at this point, but I'm just so excited about this prospect, about the possibility of growing further and faster. And with individuals like King Raoul, with individuals like Consul David, we are going to be able to turn the Empire of Stomaria from an idea, from a theory, into a thriving community. And we are already seeing the first evidence of that. We are seeing territory being utilised, we are seeing produce being grown, we are seeing communities come together, we are having meetings with Sumerian citizens, we are having meetings with Waywardian citizens, we have regular meetings with Vesta through video calls, and just trying to establish this kind of community in which we can all be brought together and we can all build something genuine. That is what I love to see, and this is why I got involved in this in the first place. This is why the Empire of Stomaria was founded. So if you wanted to become a part of the Sumerian community, then please feel free to do so through our Patreon campaign, the link of which I shall leave in the description below as always. And if you lead a nation, if you lead a community, and you want to incorporate that into the Empire of Stomaria as an observer state or as a member state, then do feel free to get in touch and let me know, and maybe we can work something out. It depends on how far you've developed and all the rest of it. We'll deal with the nitty-gritty details at some point. But if you are interested in making that inquiry, do let me know. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.